Welcome to another episode of the Active Center, constructed by David Seppi.
Welcome.
Hello.
Today we're jumping into what is arguably the most complex moral and legal challenge facing robotics. We're talking about the split-second, unavoidable crash for an autonomous vehicle. We're calling it the center lane collision. So our mission here is to really cut through the noise, the philosophy, the regulatory jargon, and get to the core conflict. It's a fight between two big ideas, two powerful groups, the regulatory pragmatists and the social welfare advocates. And we want to see which argument is actually winning inside the AV's code.
Right. And to set the scene for you, just imagine this. Your autonomous EV is cruising at 70 miles per hour. Everything's fine. And then, bam, debris suddenly blocks the lane. A collision is absolutely certain. The vehicle has three terrible choices it has to make in like milliseconds. One, get the object that harms you, the occupants. Two, swerve left into an SUV with four people inside. Or three, swerve right into a single motorcyclist, which, that carries the highest statistical chance of fatality for that one person.
Okay, let's unpack that first voice then. The regulatory pragmatist. This is the perspective you'd often hear coming from, say, the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration or NHTSA.
Yeah, and what's so fascinating is their core argument isn't even really ethical. It's contractual.
Yeah.
They believe the decision has to rest with the automaker, and it has to prioritize the EV occupant safety. Why? Because that's the implicit consumer contract.
That's the deal you make when you buy the car.
Exactly.
And philosophically, that's just classic deontology, right? The ethics of duty, the car's number one duty is to its owner. The pragmatists say, look, if the government mandates a program that sacrifices the owner to save strangers, public trust is gone. AV adoption just stalls out completely.
Precisely.
Why would I buy a product legally designed to kill me?
So the programming default has to be the least aggressive action. That means maintain your course, brake as hard as you can. Option one. This protects the occupant and, critically, it protects the manufacturer from liability for actively choosing to harm someone else.
Okay, so the manufacturer's primary duty is self-preservation, basically. But that feels like it fundamentally ignores the bigger picture, what's happening on the road right outside the car. And that brings us to the social welfare ethicists. This is the viewpoint from bodies like the OSTP, the Office of Science and Technology Policy.
And they just completely flip the script. Their argument is that once a vehicle's on a public road, it's not just a private product, it's a public safety device. Therefore, the government must step in. It has to mandate the path that maximizes overall societal welfare.
So this is pure consequentialism. The morality is all about the outcome. If the goal is utility, then you have to save the greatest number of lives, even if it means directing the death of one innocent person to save four others.
Exactly right. They would demand the algorithm's core mission be utility preserving the greatest net survival. This might mean statistically choosing option three, swerving toward that single, more vulnerable motorcyclist because the models show that outcome causes fewer total expected fatalities than hitting a four-person SUV.
So you have this crystal clear philosophical deadlock, duty to one versus duty to many. But let's move from the classroom to the programming lab. What's the one factor that dictates the actual code being written today?
It's one thing, legal risk. Anytime the AV actively makes a choice to swerve options 2 or 3, it's selecting a victim. And in the current U.S. regulatory vacuum, that action opens the manufacturer up to catastrophic criminal negligence or even manslaughter charges.
The cost is just too high for any corporation to take that on.
Money too high.
So the practical code solution ends up being, a sophisticated way to just avoid making an active moral choice at all, letting physics take the wheel.
Correct. The EV's operating system defaults to option 1, stay in your lane and slam on the brakes. The legal defense is simple and it's robust. The code maximized physics-based actions to minimize kinetic energy, and it did it all within its legal lane. Crucially, the code did not select who lived or died. The road obstruction did. But if we connect this to the bigger picture, it leaves you with a really unsettling question. What are the long-term societal costs of a transportation system that is programmed by default to prioritize the manufacturer's financial liability over the objective minimization of human harm? That's something to think about.
Program is the Active Center. It's created by David Seppi.
Pronounced Seppi.
Pronounced Seppi.